Hello, I'm Richo, Fourth Dimension Records, Lumberton Trading Company, Winter Hill Recordings, Grim Humour, Splintered, Theme, Adverse Effect, etc. All sounds quite a lot, but really it all runs from here. It's not quite EMI, is it? But yeah, I wanted to talk about the 3 books that I've published on Fourth Dimension in the last almost a year, maybe last 10 months, 11 months, simply because unlike the releases that I put out on my labels, whereby I can promote them with a track from each, along with an image, the front cover image or whatever. I think there are even a couple of videos on the channel. I thought I ought to utilise this Fourth Dimension channel on YouTube a little more. And what better way to do that than to push the 3 books that I've so far done. I thought I could talk about them simply because maybe a few of you have had reservations about ordering 1 or 2 of these or all of them. I know people have complained about postage prices, which I can really do nothing about, but I've tried to keep everything as low as possible. I ship from Poland, and as you'll see in a minute, these books are books. They're not little fanzines or a collection of A4 paper or whatever to staple together. So these are perfect bound books, and I wanted to just kind of illustrate that with a view to hoping that anybody who's been perhaps deliberating on buying one of these for whatever reason, not only the postage, can actually see for themselves what's in store. I'm not sure I'll be making the habit of doing these kind of live stream podcasts, call them whatever you like. Piece of shit, really. Not sure I'll be doing this often or even ever again. But I thought, I've got this channel, let's use it to promote the books. Comment away. Tell me if this was a good idea or not. I'm sure it wasn't. But essentially, I'm here just to show you what the books look like. And the first book that I actually did to really get stuck into this now was the first Grim Humour volume that I did last autumn. It was delayed, like so many other things that I put my name to. It was delayed for all kinds of different reasons that I won't go into. But thankfully, with the help of a friend of mine called Michael Everett in Vienna, who is a graphic designer, we managed to finally nail this, and he put it together. I can't really take credit here. He did some great work on this. This is what it looks like. It's a big bastard of a book, as you can see. Perfect bound, proper spine, proper soft cover, all the rest of it. This is what it looks like inside. Some original pages from the fanzines, from the first 10 editions of Grim Humour fanzine, published between 1983 and 1987, as those first 10 were, along with reprints of there's sorry, not reprints. So we've got reprinted pages, and we've got reworked interviews of from the original zines, and some other content as well. Old Johnny boy there, and cohorts. So yeah, original pages, collection of original pages and reworked interviews, and other content from the fanzines re-edited, and some new work included as well, some additional comments and interviews, mini interviews, some essays. Who's that? Thought I saw a picture of, there we are, Mick Mercer. That's what it is. Almost, what is it, 350 pages. There's some colour plates in there as well, a few of them. Lots of stuff, all fantastically put together by Michael, aka Puppy38, who's done some sterling work on this. And there's the back cover. I think it looks great. I'm really, really pleased with how it looks. Yep, so that's what that looks like. So the second book was the Ramleh one, Grudge for Life. This took a long, long time to put together. Not quite as big as the Grim Humour book, but nonetheless, perhaps it's got more in the way of, well, it's text heavy. Of course, there's some reprinted flyers and photos and whatever in here as well. Yeah, there we go. So there's, didn't even plan that. So one of my favourite albums. Hence the idea for doing this book. And of course, I work with Gary and Anthony as well. So it all just kind of made sense to do a book devoted to them. Something like this was long overdue. Really pleased with it. There's a few errors in there, like there are indeed with the Grim Humour book as well. Might even be a couple in a couple of errors in the third Adventures in Reality as well. But yeah, one terrible error in here that I don't know how it got through. I don't even know what happened. I don't know what happened. It's a horrible error. I'm not going to highlight it now, but it will be ironed out one day, I hope, should there be a second edition. I ought to say also that there are only about 8 or 9 copies of this left. And again, nice little hardback, lots to read, so a lot of information in there, and lots of, I think, pointers to plenty of different things in there as well, not all of which is out of print or unavailable in one form or another. It's a nice little resource book as well. So, and not only for music, I think there's some other pointers in there as well beyond that. But I'm really pleased with that. I think everybody concerned is quite happy with it as well. But again, 8 or 9 copies left, which I found during a recent move. And I thought until then there was maybe just 1 copy left, but I found a few more. But once they've gone, that's it. So I'm not reprinting it until, again, perhaps a second edition appears at some point in the future, a long way into the future as well, when there's perhaps more work from Ramleh themselves, and maybe we can expand on the whole idea of this with delving into JFK and Kleistvar and other side projects and whatever. I think there's room for expansion there, but it's not a chief concern of mine right now, simply because I don't have the time. I'm always doing other things and always spinning plates, as we say. Anyway, there you go. That's what that looks like. And here is the third book on Fourth Dimension so far. It's the Adventures in Reality compendium, collecting all of the original fanzines exactly as they were, as produced, edited and published by Alan Ryder from Coventry. He produced a great fanzine, and this just collects not only those but also the various other titles that he put his name to as well. There are kind of a couple of spoof zines in there and all kinds of stuff, but they're all in there. And again, just to give you an idea, there you go, some reprinted pages. There's some additional content in here as well. There's a nice interview between myself and Alan as well. There's a foreword and introduction by Matthew Worley and Nicholas Bullen. So, you know, there are a few additional things to look at here, but really the actual original zines are anybody interested with, you know, in fanzines, in fanzine culture, or early 80s post-punk, post-industrial, electronic music, DIY culture. We'll I'll probably get this pulled off YouTube. Yeah, there's absolutely lots of content here. It's a big book. This is the hardback version, which is now sold out. I only did 100 of these, and these have all gone. But I still have the soft cover version. Still plenty of those here. And I intend to keep it in print as well. That's the plan. Grim Humour book will stay in print, but needs to be revised at some point. I need to, again, smooth out a few mistakes in there. Grudge for Life definitely is going. Once they've gone, that's it. Not because I'm trying to be elitist or anything like that. I hate that kind of collector. Generally, I can say I hate this kind of collector sensibility. You know, I'm not out to try and tap into any of that. You know, I find most of it abhorrent. Not to say I haven't dabbled with it here and there, but that's not the reason for wanting the Ramleh book out. I mean, this is my hub, and again, it's not EMI. You know, it's a small room. This is all my collection as well here. So, you know, this is this. You know, I do have other space beyond this, of course, but this is essentially where everything operates from, and a loft. So I don't like the idea of, you know, too much hanging around for too long here. So it's always a space issue, and I also don't like the idea of just having loads of unsold stock just sitting around gathering dust. I like quick turnover stuff, releases and otherwise. So it's not really that different to the books, but unlike my releases, I can actually do reprints of the books in smaller quantities, so that's not really an issue. But yeah, but so the Grim Humour will be revised at some point. Adventures in Reality is definitely going to remain in print. Still plenty of those soft cover versions here. Grudge for Life, once that's gone, it's gone for now. So I hope that's clear. This is what they all look like together. How do we do this? So there. Whew. So some people have ordered all three of these. You know, there are perhaps against their own better judgment, there are people that seem to collect everything I do, and that includes the books. I'm kidding, of course. It's very nice to have such support, and you know, those three together are not cheap to post, and they need to be protected and sent in a big box. You know, it's not cheap. So those people, those idiots that have complained about postage, they really have no idea. So I don't know, maybe they still live in the 1970s when you could post a letter for 6p or whatever, and something like that maybe for £1.50. I don't know. I think they're completely deluded. They have no idea. There's also packaging involved. There's time as well. There's the actual trip to the post office. So there are a few factors in all this. So there they are. There's the 3 books. I'll put links in underneath this upload, so that anybody interested in any one of those can buy a copy if they so desire. Of course, you might watch this and think, actually, I don't want to buy any of them, or even have anything to do with your stupid record labels ever again. That's what you might think. That's your right. But I'm just here to push these books. Again, I don't know if I'll do anything like this again. Definitely not one of my strongest points, rambling into a camera. And don't feel entirely comfortable doing this, to be honest. But we'll see. Comment away. Maybe I'll do something like this again at some point in the future. Maybe not. Probably not. But for the sake of the books, I thought this is a good way to, just show exactly what you're getting should you decide to, purchase any one of them or all of them or just a couple or whatever. In relation to books, the next book that I'm working on is the follow-up to the Grim Humour one. It'll be much bigger than this, probably even be as big as the Adventures in Reality one. So it's going to be a huge bastard of a beast. And I'm probably halfway through writing, probably over halfway through writing it now. It takes a long time. None of these things are something you could just sort of just churn out. It's taking a lot of work, and I don't only do this. I do have real work commitments as well. So I don't know when it will be ready, but I'm hoping neon lights around that word, hoping it will be ready at least for the proofreader in late August, September. But that really requires me hammering away every day, which is what I'm doing. Even if I only do an hour a day, I can get quite a lot of work done in an hour or a couple of hours. That's what I'm doing at the moment. And I hope it will be ready for the proofreader for editing in a couple of months. And once we've gone through that process, I think we can start doing I'll do my usual, start doing a pre-order on it. I know some people are not very happy with pre-orders. I like this system myself. Not only does it get me some money in to help with the actual publishing or release of any album or whatever, and everything I do runs pretty much on empty anyway, so it's always welcome. So it helps to keep the cash flow going for all of these different things that I do. But also, I think on the other side of it, if anybody is thinking about ordering one of these while they can, it just gives them more time. You've got more time to even if you've got some money now but think you won't have in a couple of months, you've got that flexibility there. You've got that option. So I like it. Although I realise the downside on my part is that there are invariably huge delays with everything, not through any fault of my own usually, but simply with the situation around the world at the moment. We've had some huge delays with vinyl pressing and all kinds of things. But books are a separate issue. That really is down to the process itself, and me just knuckling down to writing and whatever. Once the Grim Humour book's done, I think at least once it's written, I will proceed with an idea that's been boiling away for the best part of a year and a half to 2 years, and that will be a book devoted to Mark Perry and alternative TV, and the various other projects that Mark's put his great name to. And I've been in touch with Mark. We've had a few chats about this. I know exactly how we're going to frame this book. I don't think it will take that long once we get going, but I don't really want to start it. I'm reluctant to start it before Grim Humour is at least written. The second Grim Humour book's at least written, because I'm just spinning plays. I'm a sucker for making far too much work for myself. It's something I need to try and control. It's best to try and focus on one thing at a time, despite the releases happening seemingly randomly. Sometimes I'll just wake up and think, maybe it's a good idea to approach this person for a release. Richard Young's being a good example, and and invariably he agrees, and suddenly a release is happening. So generally, I like to plan a little more, but anyway, I'm definitely rambling now. I'm very sorry about that. This is how I am. Thanks for listening. Hope some of this made sense. And if you've been thinking about buying one of these books, you now know what's in store. And indeed, if you feel like buying anything else on the labels, always appreciated. I can't stand looking at dead stock, and I'm a complete supporter of physical releases, even if I know many people are kind of off CDs now, but I think they're great. I don't know what the problem is. I think they're absolutely brilliant for sending out, so light, and they are cheap to send. You don't have to worry about packaging them in quite the same way as vinyl. And yeah, I think they've got huge advantages over vinyl, even if generally I prefer vinyl. But vinyl, has its own set of problems as well, both in terms of buying and selling, and indeed making as well. So there's a whole slew of problems related to vinyl. But I love CDs. I'm always going to champion them, and for as long as there's at least a few people interested. And that's probably where I should round everything off. Thank you to everybody who's so far supported the labels and my various endeavours. Really mean it as well. You're great. Some people really support. Really, as I said earlier, they buy everything. It's almost like they trust my taste or something. So there we are. Okay, thank you very much if you've been listening. And sorry again for rambling. This is me, warts and all. And thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And feedback welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.